The final episode of the second season of the Absolutely Right podcast. Today we are on the 200th episode, and I cannot be grateful enough to every single listener who has been part of this journey. So thank you, thank you, thank you. If you want to be a superhero, be an action hero. And by that, I do not mean that you go on the road, fight the goons or fight the villains or jump off the buildings like Spider-Man. No, I don't mean that. Be an action hero, which means start taking action towards the things that matter to you. So if you have been postponing things, if you're wondering whether you should do it, today I'm going to talk about 3 things that you can keep in mind when it comes to taking actions. Hi there, thank you so much for joining me one more time on India's first graphology-based leadership show called Absolutely Right with Aditi Surana. I'm your host, I'm a behavioral analyst, a high-performance coach, and an anti-anxiety expert. Now, the one thing that we are changing in our format on the show is we would be dropping the Friday episodes. Thereby, technically, today's episode is the last Friday episode, and we are in the middle of this series where I'm talking about the high-performing tools that you can imbibe to become mentally and emotionally very, very strong and be the leader that you truly wish to be. Now, my favorite tool is to take actions. Now, so many times before my team is ready, before we have got the complete clarity, I insist on taking smaller actions. And thereby, I believe that if you have that sample action, if you have an experimental action, if you have that little experience of how it would feel like, you get your own clarity. But you may say, but Aditi, if I want to fly a flight, then just driving a car won't give me the idea. Of course, I'll be driving something, but there's a huge difference in my actual idea and what I would do as a small experiment. Agreed, point taken. But if you do not start with a smaller idea, or if you don't move forward by doing things that you need to do in the moment, it's going to be extremely difficult for you to understand why you do what you do. So first point here, when it comes to taking action, first commit to your why. More than running around, pushing people, getting things done, getting frustrated about it, be completely clear about why you're choosing to take that action. The very moment you know your why, no matter how tough the how becomes, you will go through the journey. Point number 2. When you take actions, make sure that you set your personal standard of excellence. Do not do it because others are doing it. Do not do it because you should be doing it, but deliver to your personal standard of excellence. The podcast, Absolutely Right, is now 100-week old, and every single week, without taking a break, we kept on delivering things that were our best possible shot. Our producer Rashi Ganeriwala and I realized that people don't know graphology. They do not see how powerful it is. They cannot understand it without we bringing the best conversation out there. So when we thought of designing this podcast, we said, let's get the best of the minds to talk about their broken journeys. And that was a tall order, because you're not only going out there and talking to these phenomenal people, but you're also using a technique called graphology that very few people are aware of. When I use the word graphology, people say, what graphic, what? I said, no, not graphic. It is graphology. It's a study of analyzing handwritings to know about people. And then they look at me and say, oh, that's like those voodoo things. I don't believe in it. Then you say, no, it's not the voodoo thing. It's actually a way of assessing psychological makeup. And with so many examples, so many stories, you continue to stay in the process because you believe that your personal standard of excellence is what you're delivering to. Because when you choose other people's standards, you might not be that happy with what they choose. Problem number 1. Second problem, obviously, is their standard, their ideas, their specifications might not excite you. So even if you claim to understand it, you might not believe in what is happening out there. So set your personal standard of excellence. And point number 3, be as authentic as possible. I know I'm using this word as authentic as possible. I'm not saying be 100% authentic, because I don't know what that authentic idea is. I have changed as a person over the years, over and over again. And I'm sure you have changed as a person. So when you look at that authentic self, You don't know what that means. But I know one thing for sure: when I'm being authentic, my body is completely relaxed and my mind feels as if I'm in control of that situation. And the activity could be anything: cooking, creating art, conducting sessions, recording the podcast, talking to hundreds of people. It doesn't matter. When I feel authentic in my body, in my skin, suddenly, as I mentioned, the body feels relaxed and the mind feels as if I'm in control of the situation. So there is this tremendous power in being authentic, and that's why while taking actions, make sure that you feel grounded, you feel you're being your authentic self, and give your best shot always as an authentic self. Now, this reminds me of a story. I don't know whether it's true or not, but an art agent went to Picasso and he had a blank canvas where Picasso had made his autograph. And he said, "Picasso, is this the original piece?" Picasso looked at it and within moments he said, "No, that's not original, that's fake." The agent was disheartened because he had worked so hard to get that piece. He said, "Okay." He left his studio. After a few months, the agent came back again, showed another canvas with one more autograph of Picasso, and he said, "Is this original?" And Picasso looked at it and said, "No, it's not original, it's fake." It's fake? But I was there at the gallery when you were signing all these blank canvases. How can this be fake? I was there. He protested. Picasso looked at him and calmly replied, "Yeah, I know I signed it, but I do sign fake." What he meant was, every time that I sign or every time I create art, I'm not being my authentic self. And if I'm being anything but my authentic self, then I am being fake here. So, my friend, only you know whether you're being authentic or not when you take that action. So, when you take actions from feeling restricted, feeling judged, and feeling as if you have to do it because other people expect that of you, you won't do your best. And the idea of high performance is using every opportunity to make sure that you claim the best possible version of yourself. So if you still struggle with it, then do take out some time and listen to these powerful conversations that we have designed for you, so that you learn from other people's stories, that you have a lesson to keep in mind. And along with that, if these conversations have been beneficial to you, then do take out 3 minutes every single day to listen to the Daily Mental Fitbit podcast, where I talk about multiple ways in which you can program your mind to be mentally and emotionally fit. So finally, thank you so much for being part of this journey. Without all your contributions, support, and trust, this wouldn't have been possible. So before I give you my final quote, my favorite quote that I want to end the second season with, let me tell you that if you want to know more about our initiative of creating India's first mental and emotional gym called APT, the website is aptmentalgym.com. So do check out that website. We have seen some phenomenal transformations with our participants, and Mental Gym is one more way in which we want to create the shift that I know is possible in human mind to transform everything and anything. So the final quote that I want to leave you with is by one of my favorite authors and vulnerability researcher, Brené Brown. She says, "Make sure that you have strong back, soft front, and wild hearts." I hope that comes true for each one of you and you experience life to its fullest. Thank you so much for being part of this journey. I'll see you in the next season of the Absolutely Right podcast next week with new avatar, new changes. Till then, happy writing.